Dan Hooker just pulled out of UFC 313, and now the card is an absolute shambles. It was top heavy to begin with, but now that we're missing the 5 round co-main, we need to find a replacement ASAP, or else this is going to be a horrible card. So first, I'm gonna find Justin Gaethje an opponent, and then I'm gonna figure out the rest of the lightweight division. We got Max who just moved up. We got Ilya. Armin's still in the mix. Oliveira. There's a lot going on in the lightweight division, and I'm gonna sort some other things out, give my opinion on how Dana should matchmake the division. For Gaethje, a lot of people have been saying you got to give Gaethje Fiziev, but personally, I don't like that fight. We've already seen it, and I kind of just want a fresh matchup. Moicano threw in his name, Gamrot threw in his name, but personally, I think there's one of two options. Either you rebook the Dan Hooker fight, which made perfect sense, and you got to find a quick co-main for this card, which could be like a Usman Buckley 5 rounds, which would be a banger, something of that nature. Or you have Gaethje an opponent, and I think the best dance partner for him at this moment in time would either be Arman Tsarukyan, because Dana's been saying he missed weight, now he needs another win. This is a great way to get back in the win column. Gaethje, if he gets a win over Arman, he can be right at the top too. Or you give Gaethje Beneil Dariush, who Dana also said he's going to give a gift of a matchup to coming here soon. Beneil hasn't had a win in a while. Him and Gaethje both been at the top forever, never fought. So either do Gaethje versus Arman, winner gets a title shot, number one contenders fight, or Gaethje versus Beneil. It'd be a banger of a fight. I think you give both those guys a call. See who wants to step in. It's hard because Ilya should get the title shot next. He's the number one contender. But then you still got Arman in the wings, Charles, then you got Holloway down the line. So yeah, just it's a little cloudy, but I'm gonna clear some of that up here soon. Yeah, I say give Arman and Beneil a call, see who steps in, and either we get a banger fight or we get a clear number one contender. So that's who I think should step in on short notice. And as far as the next opponent for Islam, like I said, I think we got to go with Ilia Topuria. Just get that out of the way. What are you gonna do? Give the rematch to Charles after beating a washed Chandler? That doesn't make sense. Dana's not giving it to Arman. He just pulled out 2 days before the fight. Was it a day before the fight? I think it was a day before the fight. But Arman's not getting the title shot anymore. We're not gonna give it to Oliveira. So we gotta give it to Ilya, because that's what makes sense. You gotta put Ilya and Islam together. Not only does that fight make sense, but it's one of the best fights you can make in MMA, if not the best fight you can make in MMA right now. The hype behind it would be absolutely insane. I think it'd be right up there with Jones and Aspinall, truth be told. And then on that card too, you can put Marab again against, I guess he's fighting O'Malley. Doesn't make sense. O'Malley should be fighting Sanhagen. But yeah, you put Makachev versus Topuria, main event UFC International Fight Week, and then for the co-main you do Sean versus Marab. That's a banger card. Put a few other good fights on there. Peyton Talbot, Bo Nickel. For Charles Oliveira, I think even Max Holloway. Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway is probably one of the most fan-friendly, entertaining matchups you can make. Yes, it is going to be a rematch, but their first fight happened when they were both PUEs at 45. Charles had a fluke injury. They're way different fighters now. Way more hype. This could be a 5 round co-main on any pay-per-view. It would increase the buys tenfold. You could make it for the BMF belt, even headline a pay-per-view. That fight is an absolute banger. Winner of that then gets title shot as well. You could also put that on the Islam card if you don't want to put the Marab fight on there. You do Oliveira Holloway. The winner gets title shot. That's given the fact though that like Arman would take the fight against Gaethje since he does need another win. But yeah, Oliveira, Max Holloway, number one contenders fight. Also, given that Ilya needs to fight for the belt. That's the only fight to make for Islam right now. Islam needs to fight Ilya. That's the only fight that makes sense. And if he fights Ilya, based off that assumption, that's how all these rankings will work together. So you're gonna do Gaethje versus Tsarukyan. You save this upcoming card. Tsarukyan gets his chance to get the win back, and then he can be the number one contender or whatever if Ilya is dead set on it, and he can fight before Ilya. Either way, the division's going to be held up for a bit because all the contenders. But that's the best way to do it. You need to get a clear-cut number one contender. And right now it's Ilya. If Arman can get another win, it'll be Arman. And then the winner of Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway, would be a clear-cut contender if Arman doesn't fight before then. So that'll be the line. It's going to go Ilya, Arman, and winner of Oliveira, Holloway. The top three contenders. That's how you easily sort it out. And then you got Dan Hooker still waiting in the wings. The fight to do is Dan Hooker versus Beneil Dariush. You know, they said they'd give Beneil a good opponent. That's an absolute banger. You can't give Beneil Gamrot. He already fought Gamrot. Chandler's fighting Patty. And then Hooker's next in line. So Dariush Hooker is an absolute war. That is a banger. Winner of that can get the loser of Holloway Oliveira, given they don't retire, or they can get the loser of Gaethje Arman. But yeah, Hooker versus Beneil would be a crazy fight. You know, Beneil's got the grappling threat, obviously, but he also has crazy power in his hands. And you got Hooker, you know, he's always going to be an entertaining fighter. Not the best defensive grappling, but he can defend his takedowns. He knows his bread and butter. Again, uh, he didn't look too good against Islam, though, so. Dude, isn't it crazy? Some people actually think Dan Hooker would have a chance to beat Islam just because he dyed his hair and got a few tats. He got submitted by Islam in round one by Kimura, like this. If Dan Hooker somehow gets a title shot, that would be cool, but we already know the outcome. So we got Beneil fighting Hooker, Holloway fighting Oliveira, Gaethje and Arman, and Ilya and Islam. Next, Dustin Poirier needs a retirement fight. So who's the UFC gonna give him? You know, some people have been saying like give him Holloway. We've already seen that twice. I don't think we need to see it again. You're not going to give him Oliveira, not Chandler. He already fought Hooker. So I think with Dustin, the best fight you can make with him, 5 round main event or co-main if it's a pay-per-view, a UFC card in Louisiana. Dustin Poirier versus a longtime rival, heated feud, Colby Covington. Both these guys need wins. And this matchup would be absolutely huge. You get all the fans involved. You know, the build up would be crazy. Trash talk would be crazy. But, you know, Dustin, I don't know if he wants to do that again. You know, he said he only wants a legend. He doesn't want to give Kobe attention or whatnot. So, other idea for Dustin Poirier, you do Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. They're 1-1. Don't even count their third fight. There's a leg break. There's unfinished business. That's an absolutely huge fight. McGregor's a legend, like it or not. Again, the buildup would be crazy. It would be a huge fight. Any fight with McGregor is huge. Pair that with Poirier, it makes it even bigger. McGregor Poirier got unfinished business. You let him fight McGregor in Louisiana when he comes back at 170. Dude, that fight is huge. Perfect way to go out for Dustin Poirier. So I say you either give Poirier Covington or McGregor at 170. I don't think he has any serious title aspirations at this point. He said he only wants one more fight, so we're not going to give him a lightweight fight. We'll let him fight at welterweight. One of those two. He'd be an instant classic. Build up would be crazy. Probably some of the most hyped fights you could make in the UFC. Not best. So those are my matchups. We got Islam versus Ilya, Arman versus Gaethje. There's like a caveat to the Arman Gaethje fight. You know, if Arman wins, then he's the instant #1 contender. But if Gaethje wins, I'd say the winner of Oliveira and Holloway get priority over him, and Gaethje will have to wait or win another fight. But yeah, so Ilya Islam, Arman Gaethje, Holloway Oliveira, Dariush versus Hooker, and then Poirier versus Covington or McGregor. Then you got Chandler fighting Pimblett. You go to Rafael Fiziev, either the loser or winner of Chandler and Pimblett. I don't know what Fiziev's doing. Another matchup you could make, that'd be an absolute banger. This one's crazy. Rafael Fiziev versus Jalen Turner. Tell me that's not an absolute banger of a fight. That would literally be such a good fight. It would be a guaranteed knockout. Oh my gosh, that fight is insane. I just actually thought of that right now. Fiziev versus that fight would be something. UFC needs to make that now. That is a good fight. Jalen Turner, Rafael Fiziev. Dana needs to book it ASAP. As far as the rest of the people in the division, you got BSD. He's rumored to fight Joe Alvarez. And then I'd just say give Grant Dawson some random unranked fighter. He had a boring performance. He doesn't deserve anything good. So that's how we're going to fix UFC 313 and how we fix the UFC lightweight division. So if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments and make sure you like and subscribe if you did, in fact, like the video. And I'll see you soon.